Jussie Smollett comes out clean in the investigation.
Good day for America?
Or is it? Let's talk about it, Middle America, y'all. Well, you know that what was it? Groundhog Day? Is that the movie? You wake up.
I always liked that one.
You wake up, you keep hearing the same news story over and over again.
Yes.
Or you wake up and it's the same day over and over again. Well, for our loyal Middle America viewership, which by the way we appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you very much, everybody. But our loyal Middle America viewership should be experiencing some Groundhog Day, because the intro that we did for today's show is also the intro for yesterday's show, in which our president was on the line, who came out clean in the investigation, and now the big homie Jussie Smollett, in a surprising turn of events, has had all charges dropped.
When did this happen? Today? Was this today?
This was announced today.
Oh my gosh.
Brothers everywhere, and by brothers I mean black folk everywhere, don't really know what to do with ourselves today. Because on the one hand it's like, yeah! Then on the other hand it's like, oh.
No really fines, nothing? He has nothing?
Well, he had $10,000 bond, so he had to surrender that. Because usually when cases get dropped, you get your bond back.
Yeah.
You know, like they got Montana on that gun case. And then he beat the gun case, so they had to give him his money back. But in this particular situation, the big homie surrenders the $10K in bond, but he gets to walk free. And so there is rightfully so a massive outcry, because it is obvious to anyone with two sets of eyes or functioning brain cells that this brother completely made everything up.
Yeah.
Mr. Smollett, if you don't remember, you can check it out in the other video we shot. But Mr. Smollett claimed that two individuals attacked him and called him all kinds of racial and homophobic slurs.
Yep.
Had a rope. This was during the deep freeze, by the way, in Chicago, when it was like 22 below or something like that, at 2 a.m. in the morning. And he claimed that two individuals kept saying, "This is MAGA country," put a rope around him and threw bleach on him, and he kept the rope on himself and all this. And of course,
he had a scratch on his face.
He had a scratch, which
don't forget that.
Right, he had a little boo-boo, and as the attackers were assaulting him, they said, "This is MAGA country," N-word. But he fought back, he said, because as you know, Jussie Smollett is also the gay Tupac. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's his words.
I'm the gay Tupac.
I guess I'm just the gay Tupac. Okay, well, so gay Tupac got attacked, and he then went and did an interview, and in which he implied that his attackers were white, where he said basically, if I would have said this was a black or a Muslim, then the response would have been different.
Right.
Which means that the attackers were obviously white. These MAGA hat wearing rednecks.
Well, he said that he could see like this, and so that's
the eye slit. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Of course, the two MAGA hat wearing rednecks were actually swolled up bodybuilding Africans. Not even African Americans.
Nigerian. They were from Nigeria, right?
These brothers were straight out of Nigeria. They were there when Simba got presented at the top of the hill over there in Lion King. I can say that. I'm black. These brothers are black as hell. They're also very built individuals, and Mr. Smollett ended that entire confrontation with just a little boo-boo. And everybody and their mother could see from space that this was an obvious and clear lie. Well, today, inexplicably, Mr. Smollett has been released of all charges. This is some unbelievable stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And here we've got a couple clips to review. Here's number one.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one.
Charges were dropped in exchange for community service and forfeiting $10,000 bail.
I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of.
I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I was accused of. Well, Mr. Smollett, of course, I mean, even when he was looking at that video, his eyes are all shifty. It looks like he's lying.
Yeah.
Why are you lying? Why are you always lying? Obvious.
When she asked him, like, she's like, you kept the rope around your neck?
Right.
That was like, who would do that?
Yeah.
You'd be ripping that thing off so fast.
Well, the MAGA hat wearing racists were trying to lynch him. This was a modern day. Isn't that what Sean King told us? This was a modern day lynching. So, Mr. Smollett, for some inexplicable reason, has been forgiven of all charges. Now, this is obviously very fishy because they had the big homie dead to rights.
Yeah.
They had him dead to rights.
They had video footage cameras around the city.
They had the two brothers who flipped on the big homie immediately.
Right. They had the check that he wrote and paid them.
There's hidden camera of the two Nigerian brothers.
Yeah, purchasing the rope and...
The brothers went on a plane right after.
Winter Mass.
They had this dude dead to rights. I mean, the only way you could have had more proof that the big homie orchestrated this entire shebang is if there was some audio tape of him saying it. It is obvious that he orchestrated this attack, but suddenly he was let off. With basically, I mean, he's only $10,000 lighter, but who knows? Maybe he'll get a signing bonus from the Empire folks because we started watching Empire.
It's true.
Because we're like, who is this fella?
Yeah.
So maybe he's going to get that $10,000 back in spades, I wonder. But obviously the police chief in Chicago is pretty pissed off. He was pissed off at the beginning when he explained that the whole thing was a hoax. He was pretty angry at the beginning, and you know, to be honest, the chief was strutting around like he had the big homie dead to rights. And now he's got to stand up there with egg on his face next to Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel, by the way, is Obama's guy.
Oh, okay.
And so here is the police chief in Rahm Emanuel going on about the Smollett case.
The about face was a slap in the face for Police Chief Eddie Johnson.
It's Mr. Smollett who committed this hoax, period. If he wanted to clear his name, the way to do that was in a court of law so that everyone could see the evidence.
That's true.
I thought it was done in a court of law.
No.
What happened?
They basically went behind closed doors and then they came out and said, we're dropping everything.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you're being blitzed on the public stage and everybody's saying that you're a liar and that you fabricated this, you used the racial and homophobic tensions that's in our country due to our current milieu. If people were accusing you of that, I mean, there's 350 million people in this country. You're a famous individual. Wouldn't you want your day in court?
One would think.
I mean, wouldn't you want?
I would want that.
You'd want, I mean, if you had definitive evidence that you were completely innocent of these horrible charges that you're, what is it, you wouldn't be your mother's son. Don't you want your mom to be able to look at the trial footage and transcripts so that she could see that everybody was lying about your baby? Why do you want this settled out of court? Now, of course, the retort could be, well, why should I have to go to court if I didn't do anything wrong? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I guess the two Nigerian brothers, they were lying. And you couldn't recognize the voices of these people because one of them actually was an extra.
Right.
One of them was an extra on the set of Empire, but you didn't recognize the big homie's voice.
But you were texting him.
It is also apparent that that these boys went very easy on Mr. Smollett because no broken ribs and a little eye jammy.
Remember he was texting them and everything?
Oh yeah, of course.
As they were flying off to...
As they were going back to check on the big homie Simba. Don't anybody message me and tell me look, we gotta have some fun here, y'all. Good Lord.
That's terrible.
Okay, so it is true. The police chief has a point. Of course, there's Rahm Emanuel. I didn't clip what he said, but he basically said this was a miscarriage of justice and this sends the wrong message. Of course, Rahm Emanuel, big homie, if you could figure out how to stop all this gun violence in Chicago, that would be great.
Right.
Instead of worrying about Jussie Smollett, how about you figure out how you've gone all the way up to your term limits, Rahm, and you still can't figure out this gun violence stuff in Chicago. You know, New York City, we had a similar problem in the 80s, and we were able to figure it out. So maybe you could do something about that, Rahm Emanuel, instead of going after Jussie Smollett. I think the police chief was fine. We didn't need you up there. But anyway.
Who are you talking to right now?
Rahm Emanuel. It's this dude right here. Rahm Emanuel is Obama's guy.
Oh.
And he after the chief jumped on, he jumped on and talked about this was a whitewash, which was hilarious. Because we're going to call this a blackwash. Because this is a whitewash of justice and all this other stuff. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, obviously you got to feel for the chief though.
Yeah.
Because
he had his team going round the clock trying to figure this thing out.
And they
put in a lot of work.
They spent $150,000.
Yeah.
And the entire city of Chicago got dragged through the mud. I mean, it's bad enough that Chicago is already getting, setting all these world records for most dead people in a given, week or 24-hour period. And then on top of this, his brother has to deal with, one of his own people doing one of these things on the public stage. It's a very, very difficult situation. So I feel for the chief. But my Lord. So now you get the actual interview with the prosecutor. The decision maker. This is the decision maker that called the play to drop all of these charges. Check it out.
What do you say to people who believe he's getting preferential treatment?
He's not.
Lead prosecutor Joseph Magatz dropped the charges, calling it common practice for nonviolent first-time defendants.
Our priority is violent crimes and the drivers of violence. Jussie Smollett is neither one of those.
Does dropping the charges vindicate him?
No.
Does it exonerate him?
No.
Do you believe that he is innocent?
I do not believe he's innocent.
So you believe he's guilty?
Yes.
Whoa.
Okay, so long story short, he basically said, look, y'all were thinking that this was going to be some big thing. He basically knew from Jump Street he wasn't going to do anything to Smollett. Because he said, this is common practice. We just let this stuff go if you're not a violent offender.
Is it true? Is it true?
Well, there's another case that we're going to talk about in a second here, because some of my white friends are losing it here. But I'm going to give y'all some perspective in a second. Hold on. But what this is telling me is that this prosecutor had no intention of going after this kid.
Yeah.
That's what it tells me. Because he says, oh, well, it's common practice for first-time offenders, and he knew that Smollett otherwise had a clean record. So he knew from Jump Street he wasn't going to do anything. Jeez. So what was the point of all the political theater then? If you weren't going to do anything to the brother when you knew from Jump Street that he didn't have a record. So if you weren't going to do anything, why did you let the police chief trot out there and hold all these meetings or whatever and then hang the guy out to dry?
Yeah.
Because now the chief looks like an idiot.
Yep.
Because he was out there talking about how jacked up this was. He was out there telling everybody this is not going to fly in Chicago, blah, blah, blah. They were out there putting out 16 counts of felonies against this man. And then you come out and say, I mean, something? He's got community service. I mean, come on, bruh. You know, something happened here. Obviously. Something happened. Somebody made a phone call somewhere, somehow. I have no idea how this Houdini trick got pulled off, but somehow he pulled it off. And I honestly...
Is it a Houdini trick, or is that true? Like, is that something that they don't normally prosecute for if it's your first time offense? I don't agree with that. I think that you should be prosecuted. You should be prosecuted as though you did the crime that you're claiming somebody else did. You dragged all these people. People stayed up. You know, people stayed. I believe that people, I don't know definitively, but I think that there was people that were on that case that they work their salary, so they have to stay and get projects done. Their family was at home waiting for them. Like, they put in hours to figure this thing out. And then all the money that went into it and everything, and then he's just going to walk away with only losing $10,000. That's crazy to me. But I don't know if that's typical of what happens when people are in these situations.
Well, here's the thing, and listen to this is Mark Geragos.
Gosh, people could have died over this, and maybe people did, and we didn't even know about it.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
Sean King, Talcum X, was marshaling everybody to do jihad on behalf of this guy. Then he deleted all of his tweets. Yeah. What's up, Sean?
How embarrassing.
What's up, Talcum? Here is Mark Geragos, who is was Smollett's defense attorney, who is also Michael Jackson's defense attorney, by the way. Today, all criminal charges against Jussie Smollett were dismissed by the prosecution. Jussie's record has been wiped clean. Yo! His record is clean. You know what that means? So if he does it again, it's still his first offense. This is a mess.
Is it true?
Jussie, yeah, well, I mean, this is his lawyer.
Right.
This guy also represented Kaepernick, so, I mean, if it wasn't, it would have been clear. You see what I'm saying? Like, it would have been, you know.
Wow.
He wouldn't have come out and said that.
Wow.
Jussie was attacked by two people he was unable to identify. Look how brilliant. You see how smart lawyers are? Notice, he doesn't say Jussie was attacked by two people he didn't know. He doesn't even deny in this that Jussie planned anything. See, this is the thing about attorneys that people don't realize. They know exactly what to say. Jussie was attacked by two people he was unable to identify. Well, technically that's true because they had ski masks on, right?
Right. Exactly.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't know them. It doesn't mean that he didn't plan or collude anything. He didn't. That doesn't mean any of that. All it means is they had ski masks on, so he wasn't able to get them a positive ID in the legal sense. See how smart lawyers are? This is why when you're in those situations, get you a lawyer. Trust me. Get you a lawyer. Ain't that true?
Mm-hmm.
Get you a lawyer. He was a victim and was victimized again in a rush to judgment. Oh my God. Look, my hand on my forehead. He was a victim and he was victimized by a rush to judgment. That's not true. He wasn't victimized by a rush to judgment. Police chief didn't go out there and light him up in a rush to judgment. The police chief went out and lit him up after they collected all the evidence.
That's terrible.
There's some kid getting blown away in Chicago right now. That kid's a victim. This? No. Not a victim at all. He's a victim of his own stupidity. And a victim of his boys flipping on him. That's what he's a victim of. Nobody rushed to judgment on this guy. We didn't even publish a video until after the story became stale.
Right.
Because we purposely waited until the evidence came out.
Yep.
Stop it. This whole victim thing, it's unbelievable. And then he goes, look, apologies accepted.
I know.
These people are grimy. These people have no conscience whatsoever.
That's terrible.
None. Zero. Zilch. Apologies accepted. Now here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about Mr. Geragos. Mr. Geragos. Okay, so there's a guy named Michael Avenatti. We haven't reported on him. I actually wanted to report on him yesterday, but then I got into a debate about Israel and Palestine and all the other stuff. And Michael Avenatti was remember that former porn star that Trump called a horse on Twitter?
Yes.
Okay, so Michael Avenatti was representing her because she was making the accusation that Trump threatened her.
Okay.
Okay? So now what happened was Michael Avenatti was the lawyer that was representing her against Trump. Well, yesterday, Michael Avenatti got arrested because he was trying to extort Nike for $20 million.
How?
Okay?
What do you mean?
I didn't look at the detail yet.
Okay.
Okay? So here's what happened. Michael Avenatti, this lawyer for this lady,
Yep.
he gets locked up for trying to extort $20 million out of Nike, and then it said, and an unnamed co-conspirator. Do you know who the unnamed co-conspirator was? Geragos, Jussie Smollett's lawyer.
Really?
Yes, man. Yes.
Oh my word.
Yes. So Mr. Geragos, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure he sent that tweet fresh out of jail.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Well, his story is ridiculous. He sent the tweet fresh out of prison. Like, they gave him his phone back, you know, when they give you your stuff back, they gave him his phone. And as he's walking out of prison, he's tweeting this thing about Smollett. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. They fired him. See, he was a correspondent for CNN.
Yeah.
They fired him yesterday.
Yeah.
They fired him yesterday. Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? I have a crazy conspiracy theory about this thing, okay?
What is it?
Because think about the timing. Yesterday, the Avenatti case blows up.
Yep.
And Geragos gets named as a co-conspirator. And then today, Smollett gets let off completely free with zero explanation.
Yeah.
So here's my conspiracy theory, guys, because this is the only way I can piece this together. I think that because Geragos is a way bigger fish than Smollett is, because of his connection to Avenatti, Kaepernick, etc. Okay, so I think what happened was Smollett, and you guys will let me know in the comments if I'm completely out of it or whatever. Okay, but I think what happened was, and think about this, we're in Trump's America right now. I think what happened was Smollett basically said, I have something on Geragos. You see what I'm saying? So the feds get involved. Smollett says, I got something on Geragos that can prove without a shadow of a doubt that he was involved in this Avenatti thing. Or the FBI went to Smollett and said, if you can give us anything on Geragos, we'll wipe your record clean. And he flipped on Geragos. Monday, Geragos and Avenatti get busted. Tuesday, Smollett is free.
That is suspicious.
And I haven't seen anybody make any connections about that, but that's where I'm at. That's a conspiracy theory, ladies and gentlemen, because that sounds very, very strange to me. And Trump, I feel like Trump is the type of dude that can pull that off. Because, and then think about this. So Trump, the Mueller report comes out on Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Trump is vindicated. He's cleared.
Yes.
Of whatever. And then what happens to the dominoes? Monday, Geragos, who's connected to Avenatti, who was going after Trump, a sworn enemy of Trump, Avenatti and Geragos get arrested. Tuesday, Smollett gets let off free.
Jeez, that doesn't look good.
And I haven't seen anybody piece that together. But I think that's what happened. That Trump went after this dude.
Definitely sounds like a possibility.
It definitely sounds like something that would happen. So once again, ironically enough, see, I shot a video about Trump, going, rolling back all those Clinton-era mass incarceration thing for black people. Trump comes through again for black folks, making sure black people don't get incarcerated. That's I honestly, I cannot explain this any other way. And a lot of times, believe me, when the feds get involved in this stuff, they don't feel any, listen, they don't feel any sort of, what's the word? Obligation to tell local authorities why they're doing what they're doing. None. They just go, all right, it's good. You saw that prosecutor. That prosecutor said, of course he's guilty as hell.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's true.
This is what I've got, ladies and gentlemen. Take it or leave it. Put it in your pipe and smoke it. But I'm telling you, this conspiracy theory is legit. He lied. Now, I got one more thing to add, ladies and gentlemen. I got a lot of my white friends right now pretty angry, rightfully so. And they're saying, well, what type of privilege is this? Of course, they're saying white privilege is a myth, because how could something like this happen? I mean, look, he's black. Mm-hmm. And, of course, aside from our conspiracy theory, it's actually pretty common that people who make false accusations get off. Like, let me give you an example. You remember a woman named Miss Monroe Layton? Her full name is Judy Monroe Layton. Miss Layton, during the Kavanaugh hearings, said the following, that she was one of the Jane Does who was raped by Mr. Kavanaugh. She then went and gave a very graphic description of the rape, and then we find out the following. By the way, this is on judiciary.senate.gov. This is on America. This is official stuff.
Not Wikipedia.
Not Wikipedia. Shout out to the big homie.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. Listen to this. Eventually, on November 1, 2018, committee investigators connected with Miss Monroe Layton by phone and spoke with her about the sexual assault allegations against Judge Kavanaugh. She said that she had made to the committee. Under questioning by committee investigators, Miss Monroe Layton admitted, contrary to her prior claims, that she had not been sexually assaulted by Judge Kavanaugh and was not the author of the original Jane Doe letter. When directly asked by committee investigators if she was, as she had claimed, the Jane Doe from Oceanside, California, who had sent the letter to Senator Harris, she admitted, no. I did that as a way to grab attention. I am not Jane Doe. But I did read Jane Doe's letter. I read the transcript of the call to your committee. I saw it online. It was news. She further confessed to committee investigators that 1, she just wanted to get attention. 2, it was a tactic. And 3, that it was just a ploy. She told committee investigators that she had called Congress multiple times during the Kavanaugh hearing process, including prior to the time Dr. Ford's allegation surfaced to oppose his nomination. Regarding the false sexual assault allegation she made via her email to the committee, she said, I was angry and I sent it out. When asked by committee investigators whether she had ever met Judge Kavanaugh, she said, oh, Lord, no. Oh, of course not. Of course I didn't meet him. Well,
at least she was admitting that what she did.
Well, of course she's going to admit what she did because she's afraid of going to jail.
Well, Jussie still is. He's talking about how...
Give me a second. In short, during the committee's time-sensitive investigation of allegation against Judge Kavanaugh, Ms. Monroe Layton submitted a fabricated allegation which diverted committee resources. When questioned by committee investigators, she admitted it was false, a ploy, and a tactic. She was opposed to Kavanaugh's confirmation. As I have repeatedly stated, committee investigations in support of the judicial nomination process are an essential part of the committee's constitutional role. The committee is grateful to citizens who come forward with relevant information in good faith, even if they're not 100% sure about what they know. But when individuals intentionally mislead the committee, they divert committee resources during the time-sensitive investigations and materially impede our work.
Yeah.
Such acts are not only unfair, they are potentially illegal. It is illegal to make materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements to congressional investigators. It is illegal to obstruct committee investigations. Accordingly, in light of the seriousness of these facts and the threat these types of actions pose to the committee's ability to perform its constitutional duties, I hope you will give this referral the utmost considerations. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. If you have any questions, please contact the Professional Investigative Counsel and the Committee Oversight and Investigations Unit. Sincerely, Charles E. Grassley, Chairman, Committee of the Judiciary. That's on, you know how we do. We don't make stuff up. So here's what happened. This was a landmark situation Everybody in the country heard about it. She lied to try to destroy this man's character as not only a personal issue, but a political ploy to affect our entire democracy. You want to talk about Trump and Russia? This is, okay, the president is a 4-year appointment. The Supreme Court is a lifetime appointment.
Right.
And she fabricated a rape allegation in order to make sure that Kavanaugh was unseated. This is worse than anything. And then when she gets called on it, she goes, of course I didn't mean it. I was angry as a ploy. I wanted to get attention. I didn't want Kavanaugh up there. You know how much time this woman spent in jail? 0. None.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it is something that they do. Why? Why would they let people off for stuff like this?
Well, yeah, it's something that they do. And her crime was infinitely more serious than what Jussie Smollett did, by the way. You know why? You know what the difference is? Jussie Smollett accused 2 random unnamed people. He didn't name anybody.
Yeah.
And if Smollett's little think about this. Think about the ramifications here. If Smollett's plan worked perfectly, what that would mean was those 2 Nigerian brothers got off scot-free, and he would get off scot-free, and he would be a little hero. What would have happened if her plan would have worked? She would have completely smeared this guy, knowing it was a lie, cost him his Supreme Court seat, among other things, and dramatically would have changed the complexion of our Supreme Court for generations.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And this woman didn't spend 1 day in jail.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about privilege. Sorry, that's still in play. But what this shows us is we've got an epidemic in this country, because I think, to your point, it shows that they're being consistent. See what I'm saying? Now, here's what I believe. I believe that if I would have concocted that story and had 16 felonies pressed against me, I don't think I'd have spent the entire 3 years in jail, but I absolutely believe I'd have went away. I also believe that we've got a history in this country, let's just be 100 here, we've got a history in this country of certain groups of people making false accusations and getting away with it scot-free. Those are the facts. So if you're upset about Jussie Smollett getting away scot-free, I feel your pain, believe me.
You know, it's really not good, because it doesn't deter people from doing this again.
No.
It just tells them, if you do it, you get a little slap on the wrist.
I mean,
and that's it.
I mean, listen to what she says. She says, no, oh Lord, no. I mean, that to me is kind of like almost funny, like lighthearted. God, no. You know how people go, oh God, no, not that guy. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems to me like she didn't really feel that she was under any threat to be arrested at all.
Yeah.
And she doesn't carry any sort of knowledge that she smeared a man's character in front of the nation, and he has 2 daughters and a wife.
Yeah.
She doesn't show any sort of remorse whatsoever about that. Now, we're getting little quotes from so maybe she's very apologetic, and if somebody has some sort of written apology, I'd like to know. But this was Charles E. Grassley. These are the facts. Now, I'm not commenting on the other Kavanaugh accusers. I'm commenting on this one. So we have an epidemic in this country. We've got an epidemic in this country of people making stuff up and there being little to zero ramifications for it. Whether you're a millionaire black actor on TV, or you're some random person over there in Kentucky or Louisiana, wherever this woman's from. People don't really see the gravity of this stuff. It's wrong. Jussie Smollett is guilty as hell. He should have did some time in jail. I think your point is the ultimate point, which is now
it affects the future.
Now it's got a bunch of ripple effects. If a gay person is actually attacked, and gay people are attacked legitimately every single day in this country. every single day, black people are attacked. And now, people are going to be, I'll tell you what, if I hear something in the news...
women get raped.
That's right.
And nobody believes it. And
That's
they say,
right.
oh, she's probably just saying it.
That's right.
So it just...
And I didn't read all of what she said. I mean, I read it, but it was extremely graphic and extremely detailed.
Wow.
So now, the next woman who's got the courage as a survivor to come up and say what needs to be said about this happening. Now, people are going to be, yeah, well, I saw that other lady too.
Yep.
This is, I want these people, both of these individuals, I want them to do time. Not because I have a particular personal issue with either one of them, but because I am worried about the other people who are still vulnerable in our country in an extremely... You guys realize we're about to go into probably the most contested, emotional election we've ever had. You realize that. You got RBG, who's not going to make it for another 4 years, so that's going to be in play. You got so many things that are in play. This is going to... This next election has the potential to really tear our country to shreds. We don't need stuff like this. And so now vulnerable people are going to be in an even more heightened sense of vigilance and awareness.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, I saw some, I think Tina posted it, where it's like hate crimes are up 226% in places where Trump rallied or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, I mean, I can't confirm or deny that. But the point is... It
wouldn't surprise me.
Exactly.
He says.
Exactly. It's like people aren't able to read the room. We're in a bad situation in our country.
Yeah.
And so, look, like I said, if my left field conspiracy theory is accurate, that's a pretty crazy thing to do there. But, yeah. Anyway, all right, so... This is the conclusion. What a week to be an American. God almighty.
Terrible.
Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys.